What's the better strategy? Rental properties or flipping? Well, the verdict is in from a major real estate data firm. I'm Bryan Ellis. I'll tell you what that verdict is and why it's relevant for you right now in episode number 98.
You're listening to Self-Directed Investor Radio, America's only podcast exclusively for affluent, self-directed investors, where each day of the week you receive innovative investment strategy and deadly accurate market analysis that's untainted by Wall Street and unblemished by government propaganda, all in 7 minutes or less. Coming to you now from iTunes, Stitcher, and SDIRadio.com, here's your host, Bryan Ellis.
Yes, it's a classic conflict among investors. Take a small bit of cash flow now and for years as a pacifier while you wait for big gains, or get in for the quick but substantial hit of profit by focusing on undervalued assets. Yes, my friends, it's the debate of whether it's smarter to rent or flip. And our friends at CoreLogic have the answer, which is real estate flipping is definitely winning the day versus rentals. And why wouldn't that be true in today's market? Real estate prices in much of the country are still undergoing a rather substantial rebound from the market carnage of 2007 to 2009. Frankly, it's the perfect scenario for real estate flipping, as the market itself is doing much of the work of bringing profits for flippers. Still, there's more to the story. This survey was conducted among investors purchasing real estate at auction, both in live auction settings and in online auctions, and there were 3 different types of buyers identified in the survey: one-time buyers, real estate investors, and agents or representatives. One-time buyers, real estate investors, and agents or representatives of real estate investors. One-time buyers is the only group who preferred renting to flipping. It's easy to see why. One-time buyers are inherently low volume in terms of real estate transactions, and frankly, it's not plausible to be a flipper if you're only doing it every now and then. That particular method of profiting from real estate doesn't lend itself well to the casual investor. But to those professionals and serious flippers, this market remains a truly stellar environment in which to generate rather substantial short-term profits. I guess that's why among real estate investors, the flip versus rental differential is big enough that if it was a presidential election, it would be a landslide. There's one large generalization that can be drawn from this study, and it is, the more properties a person tends to buy in a single year, the more likely they are to be real estate flippers rather than buy and hold investors. In fact, people who buy 0 or 1 property per year are more likely to be landlords by a factor of 60 to 40. But that ratio reverses almost exactly the very moment a person buys their second property and stays constant at that rate thereafter. But overall, one thing is clear. Flipping is where the most money is being deployed among savvy, active real estate investors, and by a very wide margin. Why? It's simple. There's a lot of money in flipping right now. That's not always the case. Look, I have a team of flippers that does great work, and they're able to make profits in good times and bad times, but the truth is sometimes it's just easier to make money as a flipper than it is at other times. And right now, and I expect for at least another 2 to 3 years, flipping is in a real sweet spot. The best evidence of that is not the CoreLogic report, which is just a survey that people say what they intend to do. The best evidence is the Realty Track report that analyzes quarterly real estate flipping activity. That report shows what actually happened, not just intentions, and that report shows some really amazing numbers. First, it showed that the average gross profit for real estate flips that closed in Q1 of this year was over $72,000. Second, and just as importantly, it showed that the gross profit margin, sell price versus buy price, was over 35%. But all of that is nebulous and imprecise. It's an amalgamation of what's going on in the entire market and not a specific example. So let's look at a specific example to see what's really going on out there. To find that example, I looked to my own flip team, who closes 1 to 3 deals basically every single week. One of the deals we closed last week, Barcelona Lane in Maricopa, Arizona, yielded rather typical results for my guys. That deal had gross numbers that absolutely exceeded the average gross profit and ROI numbers reported by Realty Track. But those are gross numbers, not net. So the numbers that really matter on the Barcelona deal are these. This deal was completed in 4 months, almost to the day, and it returned a total net cash-on-cash return of 29.6%. While this kind of result is far from unusual for my flip team, let's face it, that's an astounding result. If you got that result from investing in the S&P 500, well, that would be one of the 10 best years that stock market index has ever seen. But that kind of result is thankfully rather common for my team. My point is, there's a huge amount of opportunity in flipping, but I do have a warning for you. Don't try this at home. Flipping isn't a game for amateurs. It is a real profession. It requires a lot of knowledge. It requires having highly reliable team members to do the work. It requires having a real system in place to produce consistent profit. Most of all, it takes experience to know which deals really make sense and which are ticking time bombs just waiting to wreak havoc on your portfolio. But you should not overlook the opportunity to get involved in real estate flipping, just not on your own. My advice? Work with someone who has done hundreds or thousands of these deals. Don't bite the bullet on your own. Better yet, work with someone who has that level of experience and who will agree to compensation based on a percentage of profits rather than contractor fees. Where can you find such a team with vast experience and the ability to work with third-party investors such as yourself? The answer is simple. Go over to s3flip.com and I'll tell you about a team who has done this a huge number of times with an astounding track record of success. Do you know my guys in Arizona have bought over 13,000 houses at the foreclosure auctions? We know what we're doing and have a vast amount of evidence to prove it. So stop by s3flip.com to check it out. And look, this isn't just me telling you about my flipping team. This is present-day reality, my friends. A huge part of my goal for this show is to connect you, the self-directed investor, with great options for self-directed investing your investment portfolio. The answer to what's working now is not always the same. Flipping is not always the best choice. Right now, it makes a huge amount of sense. And so in just a few weeks, I'm holding a live event in Phoenix called the Passive Property Flipping Summit, where I'll gather investors together who see the promise of outsourced flipping, where an investor like you provides the capital, but you have no other responsibilities. And I'll introduce you to my team, help you to understand our process, and show you how to participate in this very lucrative opportunity without having to be a real estate flipper yourself. So if you're interested, stop by s3flip.com because, my friends, flipping is what's working now. Not only does the survey from CoreLogic show that that's where smart money is being deployed, but the analysis of over 17,000 flip deals done in Q1 of this year by RealtyTrack shows the numbers undeniably. There's very big opportunity in flipping right now, and the absolute best way for you to be connected to it is to try the outsourced property flipper training over at s3flip.com. Oh, and if you're qualified to attend that event, which means you've got at least $75,000 of liquid capital to deploy, then the Passive Property Flipping Summit is free for you to attend. But it's nearly full already. I'm down to 15% capacity. So check it out right now if you're interested over at s3flip.com. My friends, invest wisely today and live well forever.
Thank you for listening to Self-Directed Investor Radio with Bryan Ellis. Don't miss a single episode. Be sure to subscribe to Self-Directed Investor Radio right now on iTunes, on Stitcher, and at sdiradio.com. Your feedback is always welcomed via email at feedback@sdiradio.com. This show is for entertainment purposes only and is not intended as legal or professional advice for your situation. Content is the property of the Self-Directed Investor Society.